comes William.
Yep.
Where's Arthur?
Hey, Gene.
There you are. Oh, look at you guys go.
Yeah, we're coming up the hill right now.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Yep.
That looks like some fun riding.
Let's go, William. Whoa. He has trouble
fall
with
off that horse.
Yeah, he has trouble with that 17% grade. Come on, William. Let's go, boy.
I have trouble with that 17% grade, let me tell you.
Now, I got these special hooves that Cabela's. They've got these cleats that fit on his hooves. All right, boy, let's go.
Yeah, but it's the gravel under the snow that makes you slide, you know?
Is that what it is? Come on, boy.
Because it turns to ice here in Montana.
He loves it. All right, so there we go. Let's put him up in the barn. Thank you. Hi, Gene. It's me and William again. As you know, it's always William.
William, it's so good to see you. I love that horse.
Yeah,
I love that horse.
Yeah, William, he loves it here, Gene. He loves
to sing to me, apparently.
Yeah, he does.
Whoa. Woo! Love that. Woo! That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'll give him 2 apples today.
Oh, that's really nice. Hey, I understand that we're going to talk about Mr. Cruz today. Is that true?
Have we got a show for you?
Yeah?
We got such a good... We're just going to go through these debaters one at a time. Ted Cruz, it's your time now. Ooh. You know, we have Ted Cruz at December 22nd, 1970 at Calgary, Alberta. Now, that is the first thing I'll bring up. But brings the insects out, you know?
That's the way Ted is.
Yeah.
Kind of snoozy. All right, so anyway, so what's the deal? Well, Gene, wake up.
Sorry. I get so excited when I look at Trump's chart, and then I look at Ted Cruz, and I'm like, oh, my God.
Not Trump.
Yep, that's Trump. I like that Elohim.
Elohim. Hey, you know, Elohim, actually, we have to do a show on this. We got to talk about reverse speech sometime. Did I ever tell you about reverse speech?
Well, let's not go into that right now because we're focused. We got to be focused.
Okay,
God, we'll
so
get
just a
sidetracked
little
so
teaser.
easily on that one.
Yeah, this is a teaser for our show. Elohim.
Oh, man, we got so many cool things to talk about, Arthur. I mean,
absolutely.
God, if the world only knew. You know, I guess they're going to find out as these shows keep cranking down the conveyor belt.
So what is
production line?
What does Mr. Cruz have here? I'm looking at the extensive Trek Upward radio show research library, and I've got some information, and I can share some of his salient facts about his early life.
Now, wait a minute. We want to look at his chart first.
Absolutely.
But as we go about that, I want to bring up a point.
What's
the fact is 15 months ago, only 15 months ago, he became an American citizen. I'm a red, white, and bluer. You know, I am an American citizen. And in that White House, I want someone that was born on our soil, that belongs to this country, and has the good karma of being born right here on the United States of America. Not in Canada, not in Puerto Rico, not in Timbuktu, Biafra, but America.
Here's an issue. Puerto Rico, I really should have been our 51st state. Really should have been. And they should do that. I think they should, kind of pony up and decide that they're going to be, I got to watch Pony Up.
It's so tiny. There's not enough land there. And besides that, it's not connected to the main body.
Actually, Puerto Rico should have been our 51st state.
Okay, well, that's for another show. Okay?
Yeah, it is. But the problem is who is not looking at the Constitution during this process? There's supposed to be natural.
Tonight we're going to have 2 Cubans arguing on the debates because Trump isn't going to be there.
Well,
but anyway,
I can't blame him, actually, to tell you the truth. The way
I can't either.
Was treated and vilified.
I think it was
a setup.
No kidding. And he's exposing the media. I love that. It may be kind of dorky. They use their little dorky ways of degrading people, and they're all right and people are all wrong. It's just very, very wrong. I think the guy that owns Fox News is a snake. I think he's a really bad guy. He's a one world government person.
I guess we're not going to get any media coverage from Fox News now.
No, we're not.
No,
I don't care.
Not. Okay, so I better cross them off my Twitter list, huh?
Oh, you don't have them as your friend. Oh my God, you don't Twitter Fox.
Oh, you know how
Twitter
I feel,
Trump.
You know how I feel about the mainstream media.
Yeah, they're so corrupt. And they lie so much, and most of the people don't even realize it. And that's what's so frustrating. But tonight should be pretty interesting because I bet everybody comes in, and here's a prediction: they'll watch maybe 5 minutes, they'll see Trump's gone, and they're gonna turn the channel because he's gonna be sleepy. He's gonna be sleepy on the podium.
Yeah, watch. What they'll do is Fox News will probably take a poll right in the first 5 minutes just to show how many people tuned into it.
Oh,
right?
I know.
And they'll say
That's how manipulative they are.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of waiting 15 minutes and then check their poll numbers again and see if they've dropped significantly after people decide to tune out. So,
I know, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love the strength that, you can, say whatever you want about Trump, but he's got the guts to do what he decides to do, know.
Well, what about Ted?
I love that.
What's going on with Ted? Mr.
He's a
Cruz.
Capricorn. He's a brand new Capricorn. He married a woman that's a member of the CFR. I know nobody knows what that is, but the CFR is,
Council
actually,
of
I don't
Foreign
even know what that
Relations.
is. Yeah, Council of Foreign Relations. I don't even know what they do, but I've always been told by all kinds of people that it's probably a gang of people that you probably don't want to be a part of because they're not doing nice things except for making a one world government. Is that true?
That is true. They're associated with
Oh,
that.
golly.
The Trilateral
But so
Commission and
his
the CFR.
wife.
Yes.
Yeah, his wife belongs to that, but he doesn't.
Well, now you know
And,
how
the first time I looked at her, I went, there's something off in her aura. What is that? And then somebody told me that, and I was like, oh, my gosh. Anyway, I thought Ted fooled me because, he looked at Trump with those baby eyes and blinked and went, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just a little boy when Trump, called him on the carpet on the New York exchange of conversation they had on the last debate.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ted was making fun of New York and how non-conservative they are, and Trump just blasted him. But with truth and with, oh my God, he was just impressive. But the thing is that Cruz looked at him like a little boy, and I thought, what a sweetheart. Look at that little boy look. But you know what he's doing now just makes me sick to my stomach. He's like just making such a nightmare out of his relationship with Trump. It's unbelievable.
Well, what's
the
his chart
attack
say?
is unbelievable.
What's his chart say? Does he do this
He's
to
a
everybody?
brand new Capricorn. No, he's learning. He's very critical. He was quiet for this whole 6 months. He's been quiet. Now his Capricorn's coming out. He's just been holding it in, thinking this is his time. Well, I'll tell you what, his chart shows his timing is way off. He's a brand new Capricorn. He's learning how to be a leader. He is not a leader yet, but he has the articulation, to persuade because he's a people pleaser. His moon is in Libra. He wants to say what people want to hear, so he can flip. So that's exactly what he did with Iowa and the ethanol. He flipped on that.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He's a people pleaser. If he thinks he'll get a vote out of it, that's a Libra quality.
Let me tell you something. Let me just digress for a second here about Iowa and ethanol, which I am extremely familiar with. We're in the Corn Belt up here, and actually,
kind of corny.
Yeah, it very is. That's for sure. It's up here, right there in the cornfields. Yeah, you bet. Hey, now you go making fun of everybody. But anyway, most of the fields out here, the corn is either used for feed or it's used for ethanol production, and ethanol, which they think is great because it's, it's going to save on this, that, and the next thing. And everybody gets green about ethanol and how it's going to be good for the environment and how it's, everybody's going to just swear by that. But if you take that to a car mechanic and they say, yeah, you keep running that stuff through your carburetors and your fuel injectors and everything else that's in a car, it's going to ruin the engines. And so it has caused all sorts of problems.
You better not say that too loud.
Sorry, that's the truth.
You better not say that too loud.
Anybody who knows ethanol knows that that's the case. So that ethanol.
Arthur lives in Iowa.
Oh, no, I spend a lot
he
of
lives
time
in
in
all
Iowa.
those cornfields.
My heart is in Montana, and you know that.
I know. I know that. That's why he comes and visits me.
That's right, because I happen to be stationed in Iowa out here in the cornfield. So we are getting ready for the caucuses.
He's a spy.
Yeah,
you're a spy, aren't you?
Yeah, it's spy.
I knew you were.
So ethanol is a what would you say? It's a creation of Big Pharma. And by Big Pharma.
Pharma?
Yeah.
Is that kind of like Big Karma?
Oh, the same people that are doing GMOs and stuff like that. We'll have to have a show on all this. So anyway, one with Ted. So tell me about Ted. So the whole thing with ethanol, my point is ethanol is not as good for the country as you think it might be. Okay.
Well, I was saying Hillary had secrets. I think Ted's got a few in his love life.
Really? Does he have Scorpio in his chart?
He has Venus in Scorpio and Mars in Scorpio, and that's the baby. That's the problem.
What house?
Remember, I've said in many charts that the one puppy you want to avoid like the plague is the Mars square Pluto, or the Mars opposing Pluto, or the Mars in Scorpio in the 12th house. He's got an agenda. I think, and he's a master manipulator. Not really. He's not a master at all because he's a brand new people pleaser. So he also has his Pluto at a 29-degree Virgo positioning. 29 degree is a critical decree point. That means it makes Pluto a lot more powerful in his chart. So he's very subtle, but very powerful in his pushing, his persuasive move. And I sound so negative about him, and I shouldn't. But when I saw what he did a couple days ago, and I see this Pluto at 29 degrees and this Mars in Scorpio and all this other stuff, I'm like, oh my God. He fooled me, so I'm a little bit upset right now. He fooled me, made me think that he was a good guy. And I would have given my vote to Ted Cruz, had Trump, but Trump's, no. I'm not giving it to Ted Cruz.
Well,
also...
You do know that Cruz was actually a policy advisor to George W. Bush.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
There's a lot of things I don't know. What I do is I read people.
Yeah.
I look at their chart. I look at their aura. I look at whether I can look at them or not. Now, with, like, for instance, President Obama, I can't even look at that guy. I don't know what it is. From the moment he went on his campaign in 2008, I was never able to look him in the face. I just like, he's on. I got to get out of here. I can't look at this guy. There's something wrong. I don't know what it is, but oh my God. But, Ted has that too. It's not quite as powerful as Obama's, but it's just subtle. So he can I think it's that moon in Libra that helps him get away with things. And, again, the people pleasing thing. I think tonight's going to be quite a surprise. I think he's got to be very, very careful. He's going to trip up and fall on his nose like you did off of William last week.
Yeah, my nose still hurts about that.
Oh.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Ted better be very, very careful. You shouldn't mess with Trump. Trump's a real leader, and he's a real winner, and he's got the art of the deal down to a science.
Here we are, Miss Trump herself, the queen of astrology, the celestial navigator, Jean Hart.
Hey, he's the only one that doesn't have any Pluto squares going on. Trump does not have any negative criminal behavior. And I'm sorry, anytime you got Mars and Scorpio, you got to wonder what kind of free will choice people are making. Are they taking the high road or the low road? Yes, you have free will choice. You can take a really heavy astrology and make it shine, do really wonderful things.
So he actually has some commonality between some aspects in his chart and what Hillary had in hers, which we were talking about.
Not quite as near as extreme. Oh my God, not near. I mean, like we're talking 1% versus Hillary's chart 99% full of that junk, and he's only got 1%. But the 1% happens to be activated right now, so that's what bothers me. He's gonna go through his Mars return now, basically now, and Mars return is once every 2 years it comes back and activates something in your chart, and in his case, it's like sort of secrets. I know that seems to be our favorite word these days, but he's got an inner agenda, and he's like bubbling brew down in his gut. It's like there's this boiling, and all of a sudden, he's exploding this week, because the Mars return happened. He's finally, unleashed all that stuff on Trump, and it's stupid stuff. It's like, come on, give me a break. Anyway, I'm sorry I feel like I'm being prejudiced, and I should not express that when I'm doing a reading on a chart. I think he seeks security. He does have a grand trine in his chart, which is kind of nice. It almost looks like a pyramid, but not quite. Saturn is trine his Mercury, so he has the ability to do linear thinking, to sit down and kind of figure things out and plan and play the good chess game. However, Saturn trine Mercury can also kind of be kind of crazy because they're both retrograde. He's got scar tissue with his dad. Something happened there, even though his dad might have taught him some good steps to make and moves to make in the realm of careers, his growth in the career world. There's also retrograde. He's got scar tissue with his dad, and also in his thinking, he tends to go back over things and over and over and over. He's got Mercury retrograde all his life. Some of us just have to go through it every 3 months or so. But he's got it all his life.
Would that give you regret of things that you might have said, and then you just sit there and revolve them?
Yeah, and a good example of that was in the Republican debate when he said that thing about New York, and then he couldn't take it back. So he had to kind of figure out a way to, how do I coat this so that the public doesn't think I'm, well, he does that with everything all his life, so this isn't just, that was an exposure. That was a moment in time and space where it was exposed to the public. Hopefully they tuned into it. He just, redos. He's a redo person. Let me go back over that. Let me do it again. Instant replay. Somebody Facebooked me this cartoon of Snoopy working with a tape recorder, and he's trying to record something, and all the tapes go flying all over the place, so he couldn't actually get the recording. And he had to kind of replace the tape over and over again to try to get it to work, and it wouldn't work. This is what Ted has in his Mercury. The way he communicates, he redoes. Now, he's action-oriented. He will go out and try to conquer the world. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. He's got to watch his weight in this life. Jupiter is in his first house, and Neptune is in his first house, which means that he's not clear who he is. So he definitely has spacey days where it's like, where am I? Who am I? And you can't have that in the White House. You got to have someone who knows who the heck he is, whether, I don't know. And also his karma is in the house of communication, North Node in the third house. That means it's really hard for him to take back what he didn't take back, the redo stuff.
And puts his foot in his mouth frequently.
Yeah, but it was probably easy for him to become a lawyer or somebody polished in the politics because the South Node is in the ninth house. So, and he had his eye on he's probably had his eye on politics for a long, long time.
That's interesting. I'm looking at his background, and you're hitting the nail on the head. He was demonstrated to be an avid debater, and he turned out he was really good at that. So when he started to get into the legal aspect of it, he almost jumped into politics almost immediately because of his way that he could speak, and then he was able to draw ultra conservatives and conservatives towards him. But
he can be creative in his speaking because that South Node's in Leo, and that's one of the most artistic, creative signs you can have. And on occasion, he probably speaks right from his heart. He really believes what he's saying, but the fact is retrograde, and he could have another mood moment and change. According to his listeners. Well, I loved this. I love what I'm saying to you. And then the listener says, well, but we don't like that. And then he'll go, well, what do you like? And the listener will say, well, we want you to say this. And he'll go, okay. And then he'll really love saying that as well. So That's what I mean.
Well, this would be interesting. Okay.
I hope you understand that.
I do.
What I just said.
The connection with the CFR and the connection, there's a lot that's been said about that being, other agendas that the CFR may have. And if he is kind of straddling the fence with that kind of thinking, it's almost like he would be the instrument of whatever sounded best at the time. I can see that easily.
Well, he's all business, wants to be all business. I want to be all business. But there's a retrograde there, and his moon squares his sun and his Mercury. That's very difficult. So there's moments where he just doesn't have the inner confidence. And you talk about the North Node in the communication house.
Yeah.
I remember Bill O'Reilly called him on something. I think it was Bill O'Reilly, and he started stuttering. He literally and so there was literally a stutter when he gets pushed up against the wall, and that's what the North Node can do. It can make you stutter. And, to me, that's a truth issue. Usually you stutter because you're not necessarily telling the truth. If you're a definite debater and a good speaker, and then all of a sudden you start stuttering, what are you talking about? What are you thinking there? Been eating some of that corn in Iowa.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm thinking about this. I was looking at one aspect of Ted, thinking about what you're saying here. He supported strong immigration. Okay, so basically, he's been a proponent of legalized immigration, but he wants to see more boots on the ground, and that's. Let me explain this to you. After living in Arizona and Texas, when somebody says they just want to see more boots on the ground and more security at the border, it's a way of saying we're going to appease the process and appease those that don't want the border shut down. All right. So
well, here's something interesting.
Does that make sense? In other words, what I'm
he
hearing
went from Canada to Texas.
Right.
He went from Canada to Texas.
Dual
There's something up. Yeah, but there's something up with that because there's the pipeline deal. There's all of a sudden he's a senator 15 months ago.
Yep.
Or excuse me, he's an American citizen 15 months ago.
Well,
he's a senator.
The common link here is George W. Bush.
I know, this is just freakish. What is going on there? What is going on in our country? The secrets. I know we've done secret shows. I don't know if we've definitely done one on this side of it, but we should. Ted Cruz is kind of like, I want a partner, but you got to have something to offer me. Moon in Libra. I don't want to go it alone. So if George Bush or his wife, CFR people back him,
then he'll make a move in that direction.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he'll win. And I need to tell you, Ted doesn't have winning astrology. He has a Saturn in conjunct to Saturn starting February 18th. It's going to get really hard for him. I think that he's probably going to lose all of these states. And at that point, he'll go, shoot, maybe I should just kind of hang it up. So I do believe that Ted will hang it up pretty early in the game as these states come out with their votes. Well,
we'll find out pretty soon.
As far as his win on Iowa, pretty much, let me make a prediction on that. Hold on a second. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that I don't think he's going to get it. I mean, he may get like third place, maybe second place, but it's not at a big enough. I don't know how that caucus thing works, but is it like if you get first place and most everybody who votes for you, you get all of those people, and then the person that came into second gets some of that.
Yeah. Let me explain the caucus process just real quick,
please.
Basically, what happens is instead of going to a voting booth, you go into a meeting, and so that's what the whole idea of the caucus is. So, for example, here in Iowa, we'll go to a small place, and it will be like a voting place, but there will be meetings, and so your district will meet, or your local, whatever it is, depending on how it's set up for your wherever it is that you live, will have a meeting room. So we'll go into, and like last year, it was in a classroom. Actually, it was the library. We were in the library of a middle school. So what happens is you go in there, and then you have a list of the people that are, whose names are on the ballot, just like you would if you walked into any primary. And then you get an opportunity to be able to speak about each one of these candidates. So it's moderated, and you get a chance to be able to speak and to be able to talk about it. And then there's a little bit of debate if anybody wants to say who they want to do it, and then a vote is taken. And that vote is usually on a piece of paper, and you do that. Those votes are grabbed, they're tallied, and then usually one or two party representatives will monitor the vote count. And that's where things got weird in the last presidential election. We actually identified fraud in the voting process, and one Republican RNC member actually lost their job over it in Iowa last presidential election with Ron Paul because of the miscount of votes. So it's done manually.
Well, let me tell you, Ted Cruz on February 1st has losing astrology, so that means he's not happy with the results of whatever occurs. And so I can definitely predict that he will not be happy with the results. So that means he didn't win as much as he would have liked to have won.
Okay.
So
yeah. So
that's a prediction, and that's going to,
That's
show you how useful astrology is. So you can set up your game plan, and you see those dynamic dates that stand out, and you can go ahead in your life and see what the energy is at a given moment, and then you can make a decision. He might have done better to say, you know what, Trump, I think I'll just go with you and do the wounded warriors thing. Then he would have got a little attention for himself in a positive way. I did hear that two of the candidates wanted to go over with Trump tonight to do that wounded warrior thing. I wish we would have done the show a couple days ago, because this is really big news that Trump isn't going to do the Republican debate. And I am so with him. I think he shows such unique leadership by walking away from that media who literally they're like playing games with him. They're just calling him names. It's one thing for a media to do. It's one thing for a person to do it. You guys, the Republican individuals that are running for president, do it to each other. But it's a whole different ballpark when the media comes in and participates. They should not be doing that. The media is trying to manipulate the outcome.
But they're doing it
of
all
what
the
people
time.
think.
They're
I know,
doing it
and they
all the
shouldn't be
time.
doing it.
Yeah.
So they're just playing games, and they have no business doing that. So Ted Cruz, back to his chart. I think that you'll be quite pleased or not pleased to know that he's not going to take Iowa with him. So I'm kind of pleased.
You heard
after
it here
what he
first
did.
on the Trek Upward Radio Show, brought to
There's
you by
nothing
Gene.
against Ted Cruz, but oh my god,
The announcement:
his
Ted Cruz will not take Iowa.
His Mercury squares is Uranus too. I prefer to call that planet Electra, because Uranus is kind of a weird name for a planet. But Electra is how the Greek philosophers called Uranus Electra, because it was electricity, and it was stimulating, and it was unexpected and unpredictable. And that's the way he is. And he gets surprised all the time because he wears his unpredictability on his sleeve.
Well, I mean, what I'm seeing here on his political positions all would sound relatively fairly good conservative. If you're conservative, that's the kind of alignment that he's professing
Capricorn.
here.
That's Capricorn.
Right. So
conservative is Capricorn. His Sun and Mercury are in Capricorn.
For example,
so that's why
abolishment of the IRS and flat tax system, installing that, and which appeals obviously to those that are in kind of the Republican mainstream, and it also conservative roots. And he went to I think, what was it here? It was a
well, he's a Republican.
Yeah,
he's an establishment Republican, I think.
Yeah,
although he's playing the game of trying to look like an outsider, and he's not an outsider. His moon is in Libra. He's a people pleaser. He wants to charm the socks off of you, and he doesn't care, which side of the wall he has to stand on to do that.
Yeah, he went to a Baptist high school in Houston and went to Princeton, which is an Ivy League school. I used to live next to Princeton. Did you know that? Yes.
No, I didn't.
Near southern New Jersey, not too far from where George Washington crossed the Delaware on his march to beat up the Hessians and kick their butts on the American Revolution.
And you were riding on another horse named William, right?
Yes. Princeton University, where Brooke Shields
No,
went.
that horse is William reincarnated. He's been that horse has been reincarnated from George Washington's big battle.
Absolutely. Yep. William has.
I think
he's got it. I'm telling you, this
I think horses reincarnate. I think it's really cool. Cattle and horses and all of the animals, they're like rain. You know how the rain comes down and it's absorbed into the ground and goes back up into the cloud and then it rains again? I think that's exactly how it works with animals.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay, except
like
unicorns.
They're a group soul.
Except for unicorns.
They don't exist anymore. They evaporated into nothing because they're so rebellious. That rebellion will get you in trouble,
But
Arthur.
they're on the etheric plane. Come on.
No, they're not. They're
sure.
only in the history books.
And they're only in the history
That's
books.
it.
They went the way of the dodo, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, horses actually can, I believe there is a teaching about the horses, and that horses can have very advanced souls. Not like we do. They don't have threefold flames that we do, but they have advanced soul component, as opposed to, like, say, a school of fish or a flock of birds, which have a group soul.
Yeah, like rain.
Yeah, like rain.
But I think also that horses have more than just a that, what you're talking about. I think that some people can make enough karma that they reincarnate as a horse. You can go backwards. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I tell you, I'm a real horse person. I love them. I've had them all my life. I've been around them all my life. And this one horse I met, I just...
You didn't date or anything weird like that, did you?
No.
Okay.
No, but then, I met this horse and he had an impact on me. And I had a dream about him that night, and I saw him as a different soul, only a human soul, and a karma that he made in that particular lifetime. He killed someone it was a slave, quite frankly. It was a black slave I saw her bound in chains. And this horse had to reincarnate. The horse that he hung out with was that particular black slave. I know that sounds bizarre, but, it's like there's a vibration of, like Arthur, I know you when I see you, and if I were to see you in another embodiment, a picture of you in another embodiment, I would see that presence about you that you emanate, so I would know it was you in another embodiment, a particular one that I know I won't say on the air, but...
Oh, God.
But you can do this with, every once in a while there's an animal that comes in, and this I know this sounds crazy, but horses represent the four lower bodies: the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual. You're supposed to get self-mastery over those four lower bodies. Okay, when you ride a horse, you have to use your mental, your emotional, your physical. I mean, it's hard to hold on to a horse, and you feel it when you're running really fast. It's like amazing.
Tell me about it. I felt it all the way up the hill this morning.
Yeah,
I know.
And you got to think about what you're doing when you're on a horse.
Oh, jeez.
You really need to concentrate. But a lot of people, fall off a horse if you're not concentrating, like me. It's like takes you to heaven when you're riding, and even when you're burdened and sad and you stand next to a horse, they like absorb your negative energy. They're so wonderful. You don't have to ride them; just stand by them and brush them or something. So I think when you do really, really, really bad things, maybe this guy had a great love for horses, so he decided to, I don't know how to explain this. This is such a deep, deep, deep thing. It's really hard to find the words to explain to you that, hey, this is a soul. In this lifetime, he has to be a horse. When he comes back, he may balance all that karma that he made when he killed that person.
Yeah, but I also understand that that's an exception as opposed to the rule.
It is an exception to the rule. Absolutely. Exception. Yeah. So they probably didn't want to send this guy to his second death, but they didn't really know what else to do. Who knows? Everybody has such a unique story. If you go into all our past lives, millions and millions of past lives, and we read the history books of the evolution of a soul and all the mistakes we make and then the good things that we do. Yeah, the Akashic Library, I'm hanging out there when I graduate from this planet, and I'm going to study that. I think that's fascinating. I'd like to know. I can't remember all my lifetimes. I only remember maybe a few. And the way to remember it, seriously, is like if you see a TV show and you really identify with that. It's like, let's say, the Persian days, the Persian princesses, the way they dress. If you really identify with the landscape and all that, you bet you were there.
Oh, boy. Okay. So I'm sure you have a huge selection of Bollywood movies in your home.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Have you ever seen Akbar?
There you go.
Akbar. What's the name of that movie? Akbar?
Jodha Akbar.
Jodha Akbar. It's a 4-hour movie. It's probably the best movie I've ever seen in my whole life. The man that plays the part, oh, gosh, I don't know how we got all the way down this road when we started out on Ted Cruz. So,
we got from Ted Cruz to Jodha Akbar. I think that's
you know what? That particular horse did die, so I wonder if Ted's the... Oh, my God, that's terrible. I'm sorry. I've
been called a horse's patoot, but, I don't know. You never
What's that
know.
other word? Horses, the A word. Horses, I won't say it because I don't cuss, but that's what I think Ted is doing on occasion. Nothing personal, Ted, but... if you want to run for president of the United States, I think maybe you should wait till your next life and balance a little bit of karma in this life that you need to work on.
Well, maybe. Oh man, maybe he had to.
And let's go Trump. Yeah, let's go Trump.
Maybe he had to reach forward in this lifetime a little bit and search. How do you know that this effort wasn't the best for his soul? You know, that his soul needed to see
I
this
know.
and feel
I have
it.
no right to judge anybody. I really don't. I agree with you. I know I sometimes wear my foot in my mouth. I say things about people I should never say. It comes out. And then I got to spend 3 hours,
Gene, that's
invoking the highest frequency of light, which is called violet flame, to clean it up.
Oh, yeah. That's why we're here on this show together. We're watching each other's back. Yeah. Gene, well, you brought up the whole issue of reincarnation, but we started with the whole Trump patent thing, which we know where that went, and, various other people that have reincarnated. I think
Alexander the Great.
Oh, God.
Trump.
He was
I
Hannibal,
think they may
too.
be the same soul.
Hannibal. Yep. Hannibal.
Somebody, yeah. Well, who knows? Only God knows for sure. We can speculate.
Didn't I tell you that? Did I tell the story about who I was in a past life?
Yes, many times.
No, I did? Okay.
Depends on what life you're talking about.
The last one.
Oh, the last one. Yeah, the pilot.
The pilot. Yeah, World War II.
Yeah.
I had a vision.
Yeah, I always loved the Southern accent, so I think I was a Southern belle at one time.
Oh, I wouldn't be so surprised about that. I had Texas accent, so I don't know. What?
I did this. I smuggled those slaves over to freedom. Here's what's an interesting thing. I was born in Terre Haute, Indiana, and that was the area that they took the slaves, and snuck them out to freedom. That was the door that they used. So I think I got the good karma to reincarnate there because I did that. I did have a flash on that. So I've done one good deed in all my lifetimes for sure. I smuggled those slaves to freedom. I really did. And it was just a passion with me. And I will never forget that lifetime. I remember it like it was yesterday in this lifetime, believe it or not. And I have some friends who are clients of mine who I recognize as having been with me in that crowd in past lives.
Oh, gosh.
And you know who I'm talking about. She lives in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Wow. Yeah, let's get started on this. I grew up across the river from Philadelphia, so I was right next to Independence Hall and all the guys that were associated with that crew.
Right.
Yep. Family was directly connected
Paul
to John
Revere?
Hancock.
You were Paul Revere?
No, I wasn't Paul Revere.
Well, he rode a horse. He rode a horse up a 17% grade.
Yeah, one if by land, two if by sea, or the other way around.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no. So I have deep associations with the American Revolution. Have always.
You look like someone who is a patriot to me from past lives, like somebody who's like a big name who you admire because he sits on the horse and leads everyone to the fray.
What?
I don't know. You look like some famous politician who helped sign the Declaration of Independence.
Who?
All of that.
Who? Come on.
I don't know his name. I just know you've got that vibration.
State it. Who?
You're like this freedom fighter.
Oh, that's for sure. I can tell you that's for sure. Oh, don't get me started on the media and things like that. That's part of the reason I'm on this microphone. Oh,
right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Gene.
And is he ever?
All right, I got to tell you this. I've had psychics tell me, and you never want to go to a psychic because they implant all sorts of weird stuff in your head, and you end up spending lifetimes going to therapy to try to get rid of it, and doing violet flame to clear it out of your head. Said I was John Hancock.
And it's usually not true.
Yeah, they said I was John Hancock, which I know for a fact was not the case. But if anybody that we were associated with, it would have been my dad, my father.
That's what I was going to say is John Hancock.
Oh, no.
I got to tell you something.
No way.
Telepathically, we all communicate telepathically. And you can actually telepathically read people's, like, for instance, a disincarnate spirit, Whoopi Goldberg. Did you ever see the movie Ghost? A disembodied spirit can see everywhere and communicate telepathically. And they can see that your dishes are dirty 6 miles away. And the human condition, somebody that's an embodiment gets all Twitter-pated because, oh my God, this must be real. Psychic must be real because he can tell that my dishes are dirty. How did they know that?
Yeah.
The thing is that telepathic, we all travel on thought. When you leave embodiment, you're going to still have full consciousness. It's going to be uplifted and it'll be more pure. But, because your karma, your baggage gets left at the door, so to speak, so you can get ready for your next embodiment. but we travel on thought. It's energy. How many times have you ever heard the phone ring and knew exactly who it was, or knew it was going to ring in that moment, knew exactly who it was before you even picked it up? All the time. It happens to me all the time. Doesn't it happen to you, Arthur?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I can usually tell when, especially if you're close to somebody. So my wife and I have that kind of connection.
Oh, yeah. I fill in my husband's sentences all the time.
Constantly.
He's like, how did you know I was thinking that?
Oh, yeah. We'll finish each other's sentences, or she'll be in another room and say, I was just thinking about this, and the next thing you know, it'll come out of her mouth, and it was something I was just thinking 5 minutes ago. So it's pretty amazing. I know,
it's amazing how that works. And, you can't see the energy, but believe me, that is probably the most powerful thing that we got going. So intuitively and instinctively, you know who Ted Cruz is when you look at his aura. It's a transfer of energy. He transfers his record to you, and you make your decision. So how clean your mind is and how cleaned up and balanced you are will attract you to the very candidate or friends or situations that you need to be in, because everything is energy.
Yeah, let me tell you this thing about this psychic thing. This psychic had told me that I was John Hancock. Now, what's weird about this is that's not the person that Gene's talking about. So they plant this seed. Well, it turns out that my family is directly related to the Hancocks, of that time lineage.
Did the psychics know that?
Yes.
Did the psychic know
and
that?
The psychics know that. And so what happened was they knew this, and they were tapping into a record. But the other thing that they didn't say, and this is where it was dangerous, they said, the comment was, they were using my name. They said, well, Arthur was John Hancock. Well, my father's name is Arthur as well. And so that's how psychics sometimes will do it. They'll drop something, and if you're not careful about what happens, you'll get misinformation. So if you look at my father's personality and you look at his signature was identical to John Hancock's. I mean, identical. His name was Arthur Thum as well as mine, so there was a lot of psychic confusion between the two. So you have to be very careful about that. So I'm convinced that it was my dad, and in that particular case, I could see it. And after doing study of the founding fathers of the American Revolution, I could see that in the personality of my father. He was a dead ringer for him. He acted like him, did whatever he did. And so I was wondering, well, my relationship with my dad was not the best and positive, over most of my lifetime. I mean, we had our moments where it was close, but most of the time it wasn't. And so
go back to John Hancock's embodiment and see all his friends and enemies, and you'll probably figure it out.
He had an issue with John Adams. Ooh. Yeah. So I don't know that either. So I've had people say that as well, and it doesn't matter. But the problem is when they implant that kind of stuff, you sit there and you vibrate.
I could see you in one of those gray wigs, those little gray wigs they used to wear.
When I was a kid, we had the wigs on. I had the stockings, the things on with the clothes, and I was on a float when I was a kid doing one of the founding fathers on 4th of July parade.
Cool.
Yes, I could see myself in one of those as well, very easily. So I relate to Boston. I relate to, the whole American Revolution.
Well, weren't you the one who started that Boston Tea Party? I think I remember that.
That was
I
me.
was there.
I was dressed up like an Indian, American Indian, and went out there and just threw the tea
in the harbor.
All a bunch of crazies.
No, I was the Indian. I even look like one in this life. I was the Indian at the Boston Tea Party. I'm the one who dressed up like an Indian.
Actually,
you were the one that...
You know who the rabble-rouser was in the American Revolution, don't you? That was Samuel Adams.
Oh.
Cousin to John. So Samuel and John, Samuel was the rabble-rouser. John was more the thinker, the philosopher, and the lawyer. But Samuel Adams was the one that was out there mixing it up.
See, rebellion will get you reincarnated, Let's go look at the face of Samuel and see if it looks like you.
Yeah, Samuel. Oh, God. No, are you kidding? Probably not. Although I could see myself easily going out there. Yeah, you go, boys. You throw that tea in the harbor. Go, go, go. And that's what we need, Gene. We need another revolution in this country, but a revolution of higher consciousness. That's what we need.
Hey,
not guns,
you know what?
not weapons. Revolution of higher consciousness. That's what we need.
Absolutely. And we're going to get it, too. We're going into the golden age.
And by golly, Gene,
you know what?
Wait, today I'm making an announcement. I am going to lead this nation in that revolution of higher consciousness, and I'm stating that in the physical. So here we go. So join us on the Trek Upward radio show, and we'll take you up. There you go.
Hey,
now, how was that?
I
Just
never
sticking
did
my
like
neck
tea
out.
in this embodiment. I want you to know that. I do not like tea in this embodiment.
You know,
I'll drink coffee, but I can't do tea.
That's why I have an aversion to watching things like Downton Abbey and anything that relates to, no offense to
Oh my God, we just watched that last night. I can't even believe you just said that. Talk about telepathic. How did you, Terry Kennedy, our buddy, you know, my other co-host on another radio show,
that's
him and his wife came over
Abbey.
and we watched Downton Abbey. I love the manners, the good manners, and the dress. Oh my God.
Throw the tea in the harbor. Forget it. Get him out of there.
Well, we know what side I was on.
Oh, you know what side I was on.
Oh, we got karma. Oh no,
Yeah,
we got karma.
Yeah, my much loved British brethren over there. Keep your tea and your King George. That's it. I'm out of here.
Hey, if you want me to look at your chart,
God, American apple pie. Sure, you can look at my chart.
Go to my website, Arthur, astrologygenehart.com, and book a chart today because we should talk about this. We
Do you
should
have a phone
deep
number?
into the layers of your consciousness.
Do you have a phone number
Existence.
that I can call?
I do.
What?
406-599-3934.
What is that again?
406-599-3934.
Wait. Let me get a pen again. What was it again? Let me write that down.
406-599-3934. You can text me too. You'll probably get me a lot faster if you text me.
That's true.
Because here's what happens
I
on my
have trouble getting
voicemail.
in touch
It takes
with
me
her.
oh my God. It's because people leave me these 2-hour messages about things that are happening in their life. And just give me your phone number. I love you. I want to talk to you, but sometimes it just takes me all day to listen to my voicemail because of that.
Trust me, it does. So I'll wake up in the morning and, we're going to do a show or something. It's, Gina, you finished looking at your... No, I'm not done looking at my phone message or hearing them yet. So she's right.
Oh, but, I don't care. If you need to talk to me for 2 hours on the phone message, it's fine.
Call her,
'Cause I love
let her
you.
do your chart.
I love you, and I want you to experience a really good astrology. I don't want you to lump it with, I want to put a suit and tie on this profession because it deserves a suit and tie. It's your roadmap. It's your gift from God to help you through life.
Which profession is that, Gene?
Astrology.
Oh, I thought it might be, unicorn breeding or something like that.
How many times do I have to tell you, unicorns are not, they do not exist. It is in your head. They went to their second death because they rebelled. They would not get on the ark. The ark is only a light or a thread of, how do I say?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and another successful push of Gene's buttons related to unicorns.
Unicorns.
Hey, what happened to
Help
Kerfuffle?
me.
What's Kerfuffle doing?
He ate carrots yesterday.
Did you see the little Emmy? That little
I went
white
looking
little
for him
fuzzy
yesterday.
thingy? Did you see him up
he's
there?
so
He's not there?
so cute.
Is he around?
He wasn't there yesterday. I don't know where he is. I have to get down there. You got to keep your eyes on these animals. They're all over the place, and they'll,
And animals
in the
mean
middle of the
something.
night.
Listen to our science show. and
Here's
you'll find
something
out.
new I've been doing up here at the 5,600-foot studio.
What?
I'll go outside and follow the foot tracks
Oh,
in
boy.
the snow and, try to figure out what kind of animal it is.
Okay, let me give you a hint, Gene. If you get to a cave and suddenly those footprints get a lot bigger, stay away. or take a very large gun with you or something.
Well, I'll call you if I see it.
You got to get them bears. Don't let them bears get you.
Thank you for saving my life, Arthur.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Hey, William, could you saddle up William and let's get this show
All right, okay. Let's go,
on
William.
the road?
All right, we're going.
Did we say anything to help everybody understand Ted Cruz is probably not the one we want to vote for in the realm of putting a Republican in the White House? Did we get that point across? Are we a manipulative media or what are we? No, we don't mean to be. You choose. I can just give you the information. He's sleeping. We don't want to be manipulative. You choose. I'm just saying.
Was that a rhetorical
Cruz,
question?
He's a people pleaser, but he's a good. I mean, he probably is pretty good at debating. I will
Nice
give
guy.
you that. Saturn trying.
Too many close
Saturn
ties
Hine-
to the Bush family, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
in the history.
that's. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
for me. I'm a little concerned about that. But I'll tell
I'm
you what,
concerned about the
Gene,
Mars and Scorpio.
while we're here, before we go right now, I will let you know that we will have frontline reports directly here from the Iowa caucuses next week. So stay tuned for the latest on the Iowa caucuses.
And so we'll see how good I am. I do make mistakes on occasion.
Okay.
Not very often. But
I'm out of here, Gene.
okay, William and Arthur, see you later.
Bye.
Come
Bye,
back
everybody.
again. Come back up again.
Okay. Visit our website at thetrekupwardradioshow.com or stop by on Facebook at www.facebook.com/trekupward and be sure to hit like on our page. Or visit YouTube and search for the Trek Upward Radio Show. Be sure to subscribe so you do not miss another episode of the Trek Upward Radio Show. The Trek Upward Radio Show is a studio at 5,600 feet production.